And we are back. A lot of people don't know that we have a semi-pro soccer team right here on the Gulf Coast. I'm going to welcome our next guest, Mr. Henrik Madsen with Port City FC. So Henrik, you're originally from Denmark, correct?
From Denmark, yes.
How'd you find your way here to the States?
Came over in 1994 as an exchange student in Midland, Texas, and then ended up getting a soccer scholarship to William Carey when it was down here on the coast. Played down here, met my wife. She's originally from Gulfport, and here we are.
Here you are. Now, you've won a Danish Super League title with EFB when you were only a teenager. For people who don't know what that is, including me, okay, I actually have to read it off the card here, sorry. Tell me about the Danish Super League and what that means, because I understand that's kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically, we were playing in the first division when we were U16s for the club back home, and we ended up winning the national championship that year. It was a great experience.
That's cool. Now, what have you found to be the greatest cultural differences, both generally and maybe even in the game, between playing in Denmark and here in the States?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think as we're going, the game is growing, and I think the passion and the culture is changing. But it's kind of like in Denmark, Europe, and everywhere else. This is what kids play: is soccer. They go out and they play on their own. They go out in the field and on their own, and they play in the streets. Just like over here, we play basketball, football, anywhere you can find room. So
when I was growing up, we would play stickball in the street. Now you wouldn't do anything in the street.
Yeah.
But we would play. All you needed was a broom handle and a tennis ball. But yeah, and I understand, because with soccer, essentially, all you need is the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? All you need is the ball. Granted, you need something that constitutes a net, or a goalpost. But it's not like hockey where you have to have all this gear and you got to have ice and you got to have skates. So I understand why it's so popular around the world, because it's an easily accessible sport to get into.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can play with anything that rolls. Tennis ball, a little handball, anything.
Maybe not a bowling ball.
Bowling ball would probably be a little painful, but it could be interesting for sure. And then you can use anything for a goal: trash cans, chairs, whatever you can find. It works.
Now, tell us a little bit about Port City FC. A lot of people don't realize that we have a semi-pro team right here on the Gulf Coast, and you guys, I think, have some big news coming up too, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we just announced yesterday we're joining in the NPSL, which is the National Premier Soccer Leagues. So
that's cool.
It's a legitimate semi-pro league all over the country. They're starting a new conference down here along the I-10 corridor from New Orleans to Jacksonville. So we were invited to join in. We've had 2 really good years in the GCPL, have been successful. We've had players from UConn come down and play, and other schools, William Carey, University of Mobile. So we were looking for another challenge, and this was it. And
you guys won a title in 2018?
Yeah. We rebranded in 2018 as Port City FC, and ended up winning the title that year. And then last year had a successful year, just didn't quite win it.
Talk to me a little bit about what game days are like. I mean, there's something that's really kind of, I guess, for lack of a better word, organic, about soccer teams and their fan base. It's really kind of a different or unique atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we've been lucky. We've gotten a lot of community support. We play at the Herbert Wilson soccer field, Gulfport High's home soccer field, the only soccer-specific stadium in the state, and it's nice. It's inside the woods, so it creates a great atmosphere. A lot of the community people come out. We have some fans. We average about 300-400 people at the games, and we've really had some good success with creating a good atmosphere there.
Now, you guys, I know you guys play AFC Mobile. Do you guys have any? Are there rivalries at that level in semi-pro?
Yeah, I mean, AFC Mobile is probably the rival that we have. I mean, it's great. They have an incredible atmosphere at their home field, and then they travel a lot of fans as well. Some intense games when we play them.
Now, tell us a little bit about your position with the club. What do you do with the club specifically?
I was the head coach the last couple of years, and then moved into a director of football operations this year to kind of help smooth things, make things go a little bit smoother.
Now, I have part of the Pensacola Ice Flyers hockey team, and there's always a couple of players that that I'm like, you got to keep an eye on this guy. We just got this guy. You got to keep an eye on this guy. Do you have anybody that you guys have that when people come to the games, there's a couple guys that they should really focus on that you think are going to elevate, go places?
I mean, the last couple of years we've had Jordan Hall that came down. He started out at Mississippi Gulf Coast actually, and went to Rutgers, and then ended up at UConn last year. The MLS sent down some scouts to watch him in 2018 to see, and I mean, I think he was on the radar. Unfortunately, he ended up with an injury this year, and then we have Felipe Madero from Argentina came and played. He's at Eastern Oregon now, playing in his college season.
Well, the reason why I mention it is in a few episodes we've got Glenn Metropolitan, who used to play for Pensacola, and then he made the NHL. And so there are guys that you can watch right now. It's kind of like when you see an upcoming musician and you kind of know, and then like 5 years later, all of a sudden it's Taylor Swift, and it's like, I saw Taylor Swift in a bar in such and such, you know what I mean? So if there's guys that you know, it's kind of cool to let people know who those people are, so that way when they do explode, you go, I remember seeing them when they were just here at this time, you know what I mean?
I mean, and that is one of the things that we're hoping to kind of grow, is to try to go out and find maybe locally one of those 15 or 16 or 17 year olds that haven't gotten out of high school yet, but is good enough and has the talent to take it to the next level, and bringing them in with the college guys already.
Why do you think soccer's been starting to grow more steadily in the U.S.? I mean, a decade ago it didn't seem quite as likely, but now there's a lot more following. I mean, heck, they even have they've got a team right now that plays inside Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of soccer's getting a lot more attention.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely growing. I think it's a good sport, obviously, for kids to get involved in. It's very healthy. There's a lot of movement in it. It's great for coordination. And then obviously with the women's team, as popular as they are in the world, as good as they are, that's an easy transition. And then the men's team is coming on.
What do you want people to know most about your club, and how can people find out when and where you're playing?
Yeah, I mean, we have a website. You can go to portcityfc.com where everything is up to date, and then also on Facebook and Instagram and all the other social media sites out there. And then other than that, I mean, we're just looking to get community support and hopefully show the younger kids in the area somewhere they can go and watch the next level up, and hopefully strive to be like that.
The only other thing I kind of wanted to do is I wanted to see if I could just touch you and have you fall. No.
I'll be strong.
But it's funny though, because the guys in hockey do it too. It's just you guys get a lot more flack for it.
Oh yeah. I can fall down and hold my knee if you touch my shoulder. I'll be good at that.
Thank you so much for joining us, Henrik Madsen with Port City FC.